What's up and good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to another video. It feels good to be back filming and getting some content for you guys, but I'm very excited for what is showing up today. They called me a little bit ago saying they're almost here, so I'm just waiting right now to see the delivery truck coming down the road. But let's give you guys a little breakdown. So obviously there is a ton of property out here. And I remember when I bought this place, it was summertime. And out here, we're not quite the desert, but we're more of a chaparral. Is that geography? Geology? Whatever class is science, earth science. Maybe that's an earth science class. So unlike areas back east where it's just full-time, beautiful grass 24/7, no matter what you guys do, it seems like perfect grass just grows. We don't have that out here. So when I bought this place, everything was, summertime and it was hot and everything was dead and there was no water and everybody's like, oh, you bought a desert, that's the biggest turd of a property, what were you thinking? And well, a good rainy season, the property's freaking beautiful. So I hate to break it to the naysayers, but we're looking pretty good out here. And we do plan on, again, trying to irrigate this section, so that'll be happening at some point in one video. Because I want to try to keep this green all year long. It looks so much nicer when everything is green. Obviously, having this much acreage with everything growing out here like crazy, and especially now that it is still raining, but it is hot, things are just growing like crazy. In the wintertime, everything stayed really low because it was cold out. So it was green, but it stayed low. Now it's just getting very, very wild. So we had James's zero-turn mower over here the other day, and we did like all of this area basically inside of the fencing, where you can see outside of the fencing, we have a lot that needs to get taken care of. We did a lot of stuff around the trees with the zero turn while we had it, but you can see that stuff over there is just super, super thick. Even the zero turn doesn't like going through it. You have to basically use like half the blade as you're going through, otherwise it kind of bogs down and it doesn't really cut it. And when I first moved out here, all I owned was the mini excavator. I mean, I bought it after I moved out here, and we did a lot with that mini excavator. I got to give that thing credit for having this much acreage and an E32, which is on the smaller side of mini excavators. We got a lot done in terms of maintaining the property. One of the things I bought for it was this mower attachment that goes onto the end of it. My machine's a little bit underpowered for it. They said there's no way I'd be able to cut while being able to move the machine because it just doesn't have enough hydraulic flow. Well, actually you can do that. It's just very, very slow. So the reason I bought this was because in the front of the property, we have like that hillside, plus this can like reach up next to fences and all that. So it's basically a rotary mower, like a big pull behind brush hog on a tractor, but on a boom that you can actually set and place wherever you want. However, this thing is very dangerous and it throws stuff like crazy because it's just one big spinning blade, and anytime a rock comes next to it, it just shoots that son of a gun. It gets a little bit scary. I made the mistake when I purchased that of buying a rotary mower instead of a flail mower. A flail mower is a little more compact. However, I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's just something that's gonna shred stuff, and that's not exactly what I want. Well, I was wrong. Well, now that we have my tractor, now we can start stepping up to a little bit more of the big boy brush handling equipment and or mowing equipment, and that's what's showing up today, guys. Oh, I'm so excited for that. And like clockwork, they are at the gate. Ooh, right there in that truck. Life is about to get a lot easier with what's in the back of that truck. Now, one of the good things about having a tractor with different attachments is obviously, we're gonna use the tractor to unload her new attachment. Saves you a lot of money on liftgate services. Now, if I recall correctly, this thing weighs about 900 pounds. And it looks like it is not in a great spot up in the truck right there. Well, maybe it is. There's some stuff in the way.
That's not it.
I know, I'm just moving it for him.
Yeah, put it on the ground there.
This guy's got a lot of faith in me moving somebody else's package. It's long too, I don't know what this is. Not sure who planned this route today, but they missed the mark on this one. Papa Rhino's investigating. Alrighty guys, here she is, the Mac Daddy of flail mowers. This thing is freaking cool. Now, You might notice the name TMG Industrial. If you've ever looked for attachments, you might have come across TMG Industrial. There's a couple of different attachment companies out there, right? Titan Attachments is one of like the more budget-friendly ones, and TMG is another. And I've heard not great things about Titan, and I've heard really good things about TMG. They're a Canadian-based company, however, the attachments are made in China, which is what it is. You know, at this point, this setup right here was a $5,000 setup to like the Italian versions, if you really want to go that route, of like the $10,000 and up versions. So being that it's not something I need to do every day, I'm not a farmer where I have to till thousands of, you know, acres of land consistently year after year. I figured this is something I could save a little bit of money on and go with the TMG version. But again, the reviews are great, so I'm banking on the fact that this thing's gonna be good. But you guys can see it's not just a standard flail mower. So a standard mower goes right on the back right there. Either you have a rotary mower, which would come out about, you know, 5 or 6 feet, or basically a standard flail mower, which would be about the size of that box blade on the back, and it stays there. That's cool and all if you have just big, wide open, you know, flat fields, but we don't. We've got to go underneath trees. We've got to go against fence lines. We've got to do ditch banks. There's a lot of different stuff we're going to have to do. So either you can put your tractor in that position and do like weird funky things with it, you know, scratch the crap out of your tractor trying to go under trees or whatnot, or you get something like this. So you'll notice all of the hydraulic setups on here. So this mower can offset completely off to the side of the tractor, but it can also pivot, I believe, fully up to 90 degrees. So if it was on the back of the tractor, it would pivot up 90 degrees. Like you could trim hedges with this if you wanted to. And it'll go down almost 45 degrees to do like the inside of ditch banks or around ponds or whatever. I think this thing's gonna be kind of the end all be all of what we need. There's definitely some assembly required. So she weighs, again, about 900 pounds. This is not gonna be fun to maneuver and move.
Nice.
A little heavy?
Ain't that bad. Hey, came with a hard hat.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah.
Safety
Comes with
first.
a hard hat, safety first, dudes, always.
The bad thing about this is, if you guys remember when I got my tractor, I got the top and tilt kit. So that's all these hydraulic cylinders you see here that allow the box scraper to do all kinds of cool, crazy, funky things. Well, we're gonna have to use the hydraulics for that now, which means we have to disconnect these, which if you disconnect the hydraulics, I don't believe that all of these cylinders are gonna stay put. So we're gonna, I think, have to remove these cylinders and put in basically the standard turnbuckles that these tractors come with. Thankfully, they threw that in when I had them swap this over at the Coyote dealership. So that's the only thing that sucks. It's one of the things I despise about tractors is any implements on the rear are an absolute pain in the butt to hook up with this 3-point attachment style. Yes, you can get quick hitches, and what quick hitches are is basically it's a frame that sits on here, and then from there the attachments just click into it. Some things are quick hitch compatible. I don't know if this one is, but there's still the hydraulics to deal with. So that's gonna be a nightmare because I've never pulled those off. I don't really know like how that works. I'm not a tractor guy. So we're gonna find out, but let's see, some assembly required. The one review I did read about the instructions they are not very good. So let's see how this goes. All right, so I'm looking at the directions here, and we do not have the proper tools for this. We need a 36 millimeter and a 46 millimeter socket. That's huge. I mean, you can see the hardware on this thing is no joke. That's pretty freaking big. And yeah, I don't own those, so we're gonna have to go find some. Maybe James will have something like that. I like how they call it the installation wizard, as if this was like a software program. All right, so I called James. Unfortunately, he didn't answer, so we're kind of at a standstill. Like, I don't even want to uncrate this fully without having the proper sockets. So we might be taking a trip to the old Harbor Freight and seeing if they got 36 and 46 millimeters, because I don't feel like buying super, super expensive sockets that I'm going to use all of once to assemble this thing. All right, I got a hold of James, and well, we are taking my new toy over to his house because he's got a much more equipped shop than my one socket set that is apparently way too small for this. But you can see spots like this hillside right here is where a mower like this is gonna shine, especially because it goes down right there. You can't see it, but there's a drainage ditch right there. So I can go down and I can mow the high side. At least I think. We're gonna find out when this thing gets all put together if it's actually gonna work or not. Alrighty, we have arrived at Get Muddy Garage. I forgot about that. That's the perfect crane to get this thing out of a crate.
You know, I think you're right.
Oh my gosh.
Go for that.
You'll pull.
gotta worry about stepping on them like that.
Yeah.
Never ends.
So we learned China does not mess around with their crating. We're just gonna bend all of those over because one of us is gonna put it through our very OSHA approved shoes that we're wearing.
Mine are about as good as they get. You know, I went to Vegas one time and forgot shoes.
Son of a gun.
Send it back.
All right, so we're gonna use James's, one day will be super gnarly gantry crane. Right now, just a little sketch. However, if you guys are ever in the market for clamps, the strong arm clamps have been holding this whole thing together on both sides. And he's lifted some pretty heavy stuff.
For the better part of a year, I think.
Jeez.
How long has it been? About a year?
Yeah? All right, thinking we're balanced?
I think so. I mean,
There's no way. If that's on that side, everything's on that side.
I'll bet it's pretty close.
All right. Just pulling out that cylinder.
Okay, just airing that line.
Well, it's a good thing because the PTO shaft's underneath.
Oh yeah, see,
Oh, and a little chain. There we go. What else we got down here? We got all kinds of good stuff. Hey, girl. Hey. Got a nice big roller. We're gonna lay down some stripes. I've elected it might be easier if this thing's up off the ground a little bit to assemble. I got no idea. Again, all the reviews I read said this thing is great, but the instructions putting it together suck. Hopefully between the two of us, we can conquer this thing. So I'm staring at the directions, trying to make this make sense. Remove the oil inlet pipe and oil outlet pipes. I think they're calling hydraulic hoses oil pipes, which I guess is probably not that wrong of a term. Alrighty, well, we've got this arm put on. Now we're going to tighten her down with the big boy. Sir, I don't support this brand anymore.
Sorry.
Oh.
Or is it flip-flop?
No, yeah, that's wrong.
Oh, Dukes.
Okay.
I got a punch if you want to use it instead. So you don't booger your threads up.
So we noticed they shorted us a washer that was supposed to go in here, and we tried to flip-flop things. I don't know. Anyways, we think we have it figured out now. But I noticed over here we're also missing a washer, but it looks like maybe they're, oh no, that was their impact that tightened that down and left that mark, but there might be a washer or two missing. That one doesn't have a washer on it. I think maybe it was just meant to be without a washer, unless you found something.
Found two that are close, I could drill them in.
So before we go any further, we're gonna fill her with some gear oil that James has over here. And we were reading the instructions. I don't even know if I'm on the right page anymore. And you'll see right there, it says, fill with proper amount of gear oil before operation. Does not say what the proper amount is. So,
So we've got, let's see, was that drain plug is right below this center point right here.
okay.
And you can see there's the output shaft right there. I doubt you can pick it up on camera, but
I think we just cover that.
if we can see oil in there after we let it sit for a couple minutes, I think we'll be good. Unless you want to take that off and take that plug out. That's like the for sure way to.
Nah, I mean, I feel like we're gonna know. Did I read reviews of guys not knowing they didn't need to put it in and they completely destroyed theirs? Yes, I did. I did read those reviews, but I feel like something's better than those guys did.
We're gonna put something in there.
All right.
First of all, how much do you think is gonna go in there?
No idea. It looks pretty big.
There's gonna be a big gear in there though, big one.
I don't know.
I'm guessing half a gallon. This might take a while.
Yeah, that 80 weight's a little slow. Alrighty, y'all, well that's as far as we got for today. I'm gonna come back in the morning. James gonna help me get this thing hooked up to the tractor because I have a feeling it's gonna be much easier with two of us versus one. And then we're gonna be able to give this thing a try. I'm excited. And just like that, we've got a beautiful morning for doing some mowing. I found all of the original links that go on the tractor to replace the hydraulic cylinders. So I got to thinking, guys, I wonder if I can leave these hydraulic cylinders in place and just basically use them as like static link arms. I'm assuming once we disconnect the hydraulic hoses, there's no way for the hydraulic pressure to bleed out, so they should stay solid. I don't know, right? I mean, that kind of makes sense. I'm gonna try it, because then that's a lot less work than having to pull all of the hydraulic cylinders off, all the hydraulic hoses, because again, we only have 2 rear remotes, and what rear remotes are on tractors is that's basically each rear remote is a hydraulic function, right? So a push and pull. So we've got 1 push and pull, 2 push and pulls. And that corresponds to the levers that you can see right there. There's actually room for a 3rd remote. I wanted all of the remotes. I ended up with 2 remotes. Is what it is, but I think we can just disconnect these, tie these up somewhere, and then hook up the hydraulic hoses off of the mower and be good to go. But for now, we have to, oh geez, that's already tight. All right. I probably should have cleaned this box out before I did this, because she's gonna be extra heavy right now. But let's see if we can get her disconnected, and hopefully this works. Well, after beating the crap out of the pins for a solid like 15 minutes, I managed to get this thing unhooked, so that's good. Oh, that sleeve goes right there. Now again, I think we can just use it like this. I don't know, we're gonna find out. But we are completely disconnected. I'm gonna pull forward, we're gonna back into the shop and see if we can get the new mower hooked up. That pin is a little wedged in there. Come on, booger, disconnect. Disconnect. There we go. Now, because manufacturers of 3-point attachments know they're an absolute pain in the butt to hook up and disconnect, a lot of attachments you'll see have these little kickstands. There's one right here and one right here to hold this arm up off the ground, so that way you can back up your tractor a little bit easier, but still an absolute pain in the butt. Now, the only thing that kind of screws us is I decided we should leave it on the crate. However, the crate is now 3 or 4 inches taller than where the kickstands want us like set on. So we might have to pull her out of the crate. So we found our first issue with this bushing right here. Once you get it on, it's much too long to be able to get that pin in right there. So, you know guys, I watch James find equipment that's like 125 years old and stuff just works and mates up. I buy brand new stuff to mate up to brand new stuff, never works.
I do have an idea though, it might work.
Okay.
If we can drive this bushing the opposite direction,
right,
push it through, and then like drill a hole in it, so we can just put the pin through this and this. I think that might work.
I like that. All right.
How exact do we want to get? Do we want to measure that or just guess?
We should probably measure that. Alrighty, so the first one is done. Look at that, nice and drilled out. She fits perfectly. That's a really good solution to this issue. So James is drilling the second one right now, and I think we're gonna have some success here. Hey, it's looking pretty slick right there. We're attached?
In theory, you should be able to lift it up.
All right. Well.
It's gonna free spin back here though.
So we get some hydraulic pressure in her? Or fluid? Or we don't know? All right, well, let's disconnect the hydraulics and find out, I guess. It's gonna have to happen either way.
All right. What are my chances? 50-50. Yeah, here's where it's gonna get weird. I don't know. I kind of think it's not gonna work.
Okay.
But it might. I've been wrong before.
I mean, you're more well-versed in hydraulics than me.
But maybe not.
And at least they give you you know, 75 feet of hydraulic hose. Okay, so, jeez.
I'm glad I wasn't standing right now.
Yeah, all right, well. Was it on a detent? It was on a detent. I hate these things. So this lever has detent balls that like hold it one way or the other. It's absolutely annoying. Well, here, let's get it up off the ground first and see if... You're gonna
have air in the lines, you're gonna have to cycle it.
Gotcha.
Air compresses.
One of the reviews was this thing does go a little wild. All right, there we go, there we go. Oh. All right, watch out. This other one's a little crazy. Jeez. I gotta get rid of those detents.
I'll move it.
Full range test. We got a clear? Yeah?
Yeah. Leave it all the way up. Move this guy back and forth now.
All right, watch out.
Yeah.
Well, that one's the crazy one.
Maybe lift up the 3 points a little bit more.
It's all the way up.
No.
Imagine staring at that thing spinning at this angle. No thanks, I'm never gonna use it like this. Yeah. I had to push that pin in to get it to bite. We on?
I think so.
Is the death trap ready?
That's it.
There you go.
Heard the click.
All right. Alrighty guys, we are outside. PTO shaft is hooked up. All the hydraulic lines are hooked up. So far the hydraulic cylinders seem to be holding. I don't want to jinx it. We'll see once we actually start using this thing. We're bouncing up and down if we start to bleed out some hydraulic pressure out of those cylinders. But I think we're ready to fire this thing up. I'm a little nervous. This thing's scary, man. PTO shafts, like tractor equipment is, to me, much scarier than hydraulic stuff on like the front of a skid steer. There's a lot of rotational mass with this stuff that can go wrong pretty quickly. So this is how we engage our PTO, all right? You put your clutch in over here. We've got 2 PTOs. We've got the regular, the standard, and the economy. And basically the difference is they run at different RPMs. So even though they say 540 RPMs, I think the shaft spins at that, but you can actually run the engine at different RPMs. So what would that be? About 1800 RPMs is in economy mode, and about 2500 RPMs is the standard PTO mode. I'm gonna spin it real slow at idle. We'll see what happens. All right, so we're gonna engage our PTO. We're gonna click her on. That's a good idea.
It'll be good for now. Let's go ahead and check it out. It's not going to get hot and
quick. All right, she's coming to you. I remember which one's which. Yep, there we go.
I'm gonna go get some carrots. We can juice them. Oh, that thing spins fast.
That's that RPM. I don't like being able to see the blades right here.
Yeah, so you can't see them now, can you? Yeah, I see it being relatively safe.
You guys can see the difference out here. Look at the neighbors, nice and mowed pasture. And then we've got my crazy overgrownness that needs to get handled, and it's about to get handled. Well, probably in the next couple of days. There's a lot of days worth. So this side of the property got completely scorched in the fire, but it has never been mowed since then. So all of the big stuff got taken out during the fire, and then now it's just like this mustard weed, which is all this stuff you see growing right here. Absolutely a nightmare to get through with a weed whacker or like a riding lawnmower, because it's just so thick and it holds a lot of moisture. It just does not cut well. But I'm thinking with this monster, we're gonna destroy this mustard weed. So as much as I wanted to jump straight into mowing, I had to run to the store to grab a bunch of materials for a job tomorrow. But I had noticed pretty quickly after parking this, going around, grabbing my truck and leaving, all of the hydraulics kind of bled out on this side. Well, I guess this function, and that side dropped, which is, you know, has nothing to do with the hydraulic rams over here that we were actually, these is what we were worried about dropping. Those are great and fine and have not dropped, but the actual hydraulic cylinder here, I wonder if there's still some air in the line. We didn't really cycle it that much. No idea, guys, no idea. So now I'm excited. Now I get to spend the rest of the day out here relaxing and mowing. Well, maybe not relaxing, because I think it's kind of sketchy and we got to figure it out. But once we get it figured out, relaxing and mowing. I threw 10 gallons of the finest Saudi Arabian dinosaur bones we could find in her. Rigged up the most jerry-rigged Insta360 pole and camera. Let's go try this bad boy out. I probably should have done it now, but I got to switch the hydraulics. So on this lever, if I push it that way, it angles the mower the opposite direction. So I need to be able to push it that way, and the mower angles down that way. Right now they're flip-flopped. All we have to do is swap the hydraulic hoses around. I'm more worried about my Insta360 camera. I feel like I'm gonna forget that's back there. It's gonna fall off and get shredded at some point. Here goes nothing. We're gonna, let's see, we'll engage the PTO. We'll run economy PTO, you know, save a little bit of fuel, because I only put 10 gallons in her. Let's get her spinning. There we go. Then we're gonna lower her down. Now my 360 pole doesn't like to be lowered very much, but so this thing has rollers to where you can set the height. I don't know what we're set at right now. I think we're on the shorter of the heights. No idea. So let's see. Let's kind of get her flat. Now it should just kind of float along the ground. That's why it has that one big roller across the back. But let's get our RPMs up. Economy PTO RPMs. But here we go. Oh, we are way too high right here. Hold on. Alright, we'll go in first gear for now. That's how we learn this thing. Oh yeah. That's a very clean cut. I know you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but when I read the reviews on this, people say they cut like big grass fields, like nice grass fields, not the stuff I'm dealing with these, and it gives you a really clean cut. I mean, that right there is really clean. I did just hit a gopher mound or a squirrel mound, which is why I wanted more of this style of mower, because I feel like it can handle hitting more little mounds of dirt and stuff versus a rotary mower, and not get its damage. And if it does, you have like a ton of blades on here. I wanted to jump out real quick and just take a closer look, especially for the camera, but this is where we just cut versus obviously that. And I believe this was done with James's zero turn the other day. So, I mean, that's a pretty nice cut right there, and it shreds it pretty decently. And you can see right here, we hit like a big gopher mound or a squirrel mound, and it still kind of cuts what's around it. Whereas like a lot of mowers, they'll either hop over top of it, or like with the rotary mowers, they just get like all kinds of shock in them, and then you end up transferring that shock through the PTO shaft into the tractor, and that's not good. I also don't think that camera is going to survive for very long doing what we're doing. But this mustard weed right here, this is actually not that thick of mustard weed, but we'll go over there where it's really thick. I want to see how it does on this stuff, because this is the stuff that is an absolute pain in the butt to get through with a riding mower or with a weed whacker, whatever it is. This stuff sucks. Look at all that mustard grass right there. There are some big lumps of dirt. We actually had a road cut right through here, and you can see how quickly that grew all back in. That road was cut in probably a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months at the most. And this is the thick stuff right here. Oh yeah, so we're not only getting the thick mustard weed, we're gonna get all of this brushy stuff too. That stuff's like, a weed whacker's not going through that stuff. All right, I'm pretty excited for this. So let's send her off to one side. Nice and smooth, nice and smooth. You can see she is starting to droop again that way. Oh, wrong way on the hydraulics. Remember Ryan, you flip. And away we go, y'all. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it's just chewing through that stuff. Nice. Let's go through this really thick, brushy bush right here. See what happens. Oh, dude, that just destroyed that thing. Yeah. So far, I am very satisfied with that purchase. But this is flatland. Like, any mower can do flatland. Let's go try it on some hills and some embankments, and let's see how this thing really does with the whole thing extended and at all kinds of weird angles. So on this side of my property, well, on, I guess this side of the road of this side of my property, you can see we've got a pretty good embankment here. And now obviously this only reaches so far, so we're probably only gonna be able to get, I don't know, maybe halfway up there. We'll have to drive on the bank a little bit. We could just reverse up the bank and this will probably cut that way as well. But let's give her a go. My 360 camera pretty much didn't survive. I mean, the camera survived, my mount didn't survive. So we're just gonna rig up the GoPro on the back window, flip her open, and give her the beans. Now don't mind all of that slop. We have these little arms down here set with a little bit of slop in them. So that's not the mower assembly, that's actually the arms on the tractor. I don't know what those lower arms are called. That feels so sketchy with that back glass open. Not that that's gonna save me from a whole lot of anything, but that thing is gnarly. And it did a pretty good job. Obviously on a slope like this, like none of these are nice, smooth cut slopes with a dozer. They have weird dips and bobbles to them, so it's one of those things I kind of have to just constantly sit here and adjust a little bit. It's not as much as I thought I was gonna have to sit here and adjust, because basically this thing will float on that back roller and kind of go with the terrain. But you just got to do little tweaks to it as you go, and you get a pretty good cut. I wonder if I drive in the track that we just did, if we can get up a little bit higher. You know, it definitely does its job of stripping this hillside. I think that's pretty good right there. They do make flail mowers that are on these big booms that can go out, you know, basically like the excavator off the back of a tractor, or sometimes they're mounted on like the underside belly and like the center of the tractor. Those are very expensive rigs. This is really the only spot that we have like this where it's that much of an embankment that the tractor might not fully be able to get. I gotta check my blades though. I gotta give a huge shout out to the utility company for leaving one of their old anchors in the ground and not removing that. That thing got chewed up pretty good. When they swapped this pole out, it got a new anchor. And apparently we don't pull these anchors. So yeah, found that one the hard way. Doesn't look like the blades really took much damage. We got a little bit right there. I don't know, I think we're gonna be all right. I mean, we're gonna destroy these blades anyway. Oh, yep, that one. That one found it. Look at that. Yikes. That's not good. All right, let's do our best to not find any more large metal objects in the ground. So I'm gonna hit this last little piece of embankment. This is not the relaxing mowing that I had talked about earlier. The hillside stuff's a little more stressful. Clearly, I got a lot of work to do learning this thing, but I think we're gonna get her figured out. All right, we'll engage PTO. PTO is engaged. Bring up the RPMs. And we drop the mower down. Hopefully that's an angle you guys can see. I'm not 100% sure. No, no, we're way too high of a gear. Let's go into low, second. That'll give us a good crawling pace on this hillside. And then again, as I'm going, I'm just kind of making micro adjustments. Hill right here with some dirt in the way. If I can just get up on top of this. I'm hoping there's like a V in the middle and we're straddling it. I should probably be paying attention behind me. But I think we're gonna be able to hit pretty close to this fence line. We'll make another little adjustment there. I just wish there wasn't so much dirt mounds built up here. Also see right here, see where that dirt mound is right up on the side of the road? That sucks. I'm gonna have to knock all of those down and try to flatten that out, and that'll make coming through later easier. Check this out. We are now downsloped in on this drainage ditch. That's pretty cool. Now we are on the chill, relaxing part. See, I've done a bunch of passes over here, and you'll notice these dark spots. That's not where it's like scalping the actual grass or the weeds or whatever. That's where all of the squirrel mounds are. So basically what this thing's doing is it's kind of like dispersing that dirt pretty evenly, a lot better than I think a rotary mower would do. So it's gonna be good, because while we're mowing, we're also knocking down all of these squirrel humps. I did notice there's a little ridge, right? I don't know if you guys can see it. I've got no idea where I'm pointing, but if you look in the path that I'm cutting, there's a little center's like mohawk, and I wonder if that's that blade that we totally destroyed on that freaking anchor. I will say, there's a lot of like limbs and stuff. Obviously that's really big, but there's a lot of little stuff here, and this thing, anytime we go over it, it is just absolutely shredding. But this tractor is just so comfortable, guys. I kick my feet up, I got some little ledges right there that my feet just hang out on. Set the throttle, which is basically cruise control, and all I do is sit here and steer. Put some tunes on, got the air conditioning, I'm out of the elements, I'm not dying of an allergy attack from cutting all this stuff down. This is definitely the way to go. You can see one of the big benefits to the offset is for trees like this, where the tree's not quite tall enough to drive the tractor underneath without scratching the crap out of it, the offset can reach underneath. Now I do wish it offset a little further, but you know, that's pretty dang close right there. What do we got, about 2.5 feet or so? That's pretty good. Yeah, well, I'm very excited to finally have this mower. it's still one of those things, like you still need a smaller mower to do some finish stuff. You still need to, like, to fully get up underneath that tree. A nice riding lawnmower, little zero turn would be ideal. Well guys, I was going through some thick stuff, turned around and noticed there was some smoke coming off the brush cutter. That's not good. Looks like we are bubbling out some of that gear oil. I'm not sure why it's bubbling out. I definitely don't think we put too much. We were very conservative with the oil. Look, you guys can see some of the smoke coming off of this gearbox right here. I hope we didn't smoke something. Maybe I should have bought the $8,000 or $10,000 Italian one. Oh,
Yep.
hey!
See? I know my smells.
Yeah, a little shredded there. Yikes.
So, I mean, it should probably be a little bit tighter than that, but not much. Something on there is making it drag too hard. The true colors finally come out. Sun looks ching chong.
You think it failed on the ching chong side?
So it's these right here. You gotta loosen them, push that up with like a pry bar. Oh bro, these aren't even that tight. See how loose those are?
We probably, after we learned about the hydraulic hoses, we probably should have gone through and
yeah.
tightened everything on this thing. Let's see how loose these are.
They're totally not that tight.
Oh, dude, that's super loose.
That's your problem right there. Is it's. So I got the big pry bars at home. If you wanna.
Yeah, we should probably.
It up.
I don't know how much longer we got on these belts, but
They're still good. This was heating up real hot because it's loose and your pulley was slipping.
gotcha.
So this just starts turning into like a raging inferno, and it was melting your belts.
Okay.
So, because what happens is when you're mowing, there's resistance against that.
Right.
And this will just start free spinning.
Gotcha.
Or vice versa, it'll just be passing along this easier. So one of these, it was slipping
Okay.
around. But I'm guessing it. Yeah.
It's a little toasty.
Definitely that top pulley. It was slipping on this because that is hot and the heat was just making its way into that shaft and cooking that oil.
All right, well.
So, yeah, this needs to be much tighter than that.
Alrighty, y'all. Oh, Big Walt did not like the beeps on the camera there. Well, thankfully it doesn't seem like we fried the gearbox, because that's the thing I was worried about the most. We did notice when me and James went to go put on the hydraulic hoses that one of them was loose, so we cranked down on all of them. They were all just a little bit loose, and at that point we should have known, or I should have known, to check all of the bolts on this thing. And well, I didn't. So what it seems like happened is the adjuster for those belts got a little bit out of whack, and sorry, this is super wide angle. So the adjusters got super out of whack. You can see there's a lot of play there, and it looks like we are all the way down because, well, these are not very tight. I mean, I can't loosen it by hand, but when I put a crescent wrench on it, it just moved super easily. So, I mean, the sun is setting behind me. So tomorrow I'm gonna go over to James's and we'll get this all doctored up. But other than this little bit of an issue, the thing is working great. Again, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It's little, you know, it's significantly different than like just a standard brush hog pull behind rotary mower. If we go look over here at the new golf course that I have from mowing all of this, looking really good. The only thing that doesn't look good is where those dirt spots are. But again, that's where it just spreads the dirt out from the all of the gopher mounds or the squirrel mounds. But I gotta say, very happy to finally own my own mower for the tractor. I don't have to borrow anything. I mean, we still might borrow James's zero turn because it's really nice for going under some of these trees. But for the bulk of the work, especially coming fire season, like you can't just be borrowing stuff from other people because they need it for their properties because, again, fire season affects all of us. But with that, we're gonna wrap up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now that we do not miss out on any future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workforapparel.com because if there's anything you want in this life, you gotta be willing to work for it. You guys are the best. I'm out.
Damn.